Really fun game for the Utah Jazz. These were two fun teams in the Houston Rockets and Utah in really the Utah Jazz's first preseason game because they play the Breakers last game. This was against an actual NBA team, and it was a lot of fun. Let's talk about it. Before we, let's just get right into it. So let's talk about the Houston Rockets a little bit before we talk about the Utah Jazz. Let me just make me smaller. All right, so let's talk about the Houston Rockets before we talk about the Jazz. The Rockets are young. They are fun. They are going to be pretty good this year. The question is going to be how good. It just really kind of depends on the development. They obviously brought in the veterans last year like Fred VanVleet. And honestly, there were times last year when Jalen Green went on that kind of 6-week run where he was just one of the best players in the league. If he can find some consistency this year, you can really tell how this Houston Rockets team can be a lot of fun. And if Jalen Green can kind of find that consistency with Şengün on the floor, and that was kind of the question mark last year for the Rockets, is can Jalen Green be like this with Şengün on the floor? Because if you remember, he kind of started that run with Şengün, and then Şengün got hurt. And then Jalen Green just went on a tear, and so did the Rockets with Şengün, who was out for a little while with an injury. So this Rockets team is really solid. This was a great first step for this Utah Jazz to just see where they are as a team and how good they can be, and it was a lot of fun. This Jazz team is fun, but this Rockets team is both going to be young, athletic, talented, and good. You know what's crazy? I didn't even realize Steven Adams was on the floor tonight. That's crazy. I didn't even know. Well, he didn't do anything, so I guess that's crazy. But anyways, you guys all know how bad I wanted Amen Thompson on the Jazz. Can I get an amen? That was the name of the game last season. He goes to Houston 2 seasons ago. He goes 6 for 8 from the field, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. He is such an incredible defender, and it was very clear he was going to be good in that draft. And so, the more athletes they get on the floor, the more they're going to be able to defend. You look at guys like Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Fred VanVleet's a good defender. They just are putting good defenders on the floor, and you can just see how that team is going to be really solid. So, Cam Whitmore, Utah passed on Cam Whitmore, and every Jazz fan watching that was like, man, could we get that guy? 17 points. He shot, 2 for 4 from 3, 6 for 8 with an just insane dunk over Walker Kessler. But look at that, minus 13. Just something to watch, but he is a lot of fun. And then you add on the fact they got Reed Shepherd this year when they go to number 3. These numbers are going to be better. He looked so incredible in Summer League. Just absolutely awesome. And him getting minutes tonight was fun to see. Who did they not play? Obviously, Dillon Brooks doesn't play. Can they just send Dillon Brooks to Cancun? I don't know. I like this team without Dillon Brooks. Maybe Rockets fans, let me know what you think of Dillon Brooks. But I would just much rather watch this team without him because I think they're a lot more fun. And they're going to get to that point where you have so many young guys, you got to figure out a way to get them all on the floor, as well as veterans to help you win like Fred VanVleet. But Reed Shepherd, I think he's going to be just awesome. He looked so good for them in preseason. So really nice to see. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. This team was fun. Yes, they get behind big. They couldn't hit a shot for the life of them to start the game. But you know what I liked? They played good defense. This defense looked better to me tonight than it did last season, that's for sure. And honestly, this was a Rockets team playing, their best players, and they played well. And obviously the Rockets got ahead, but I felt good about what I saw from this Jazz team. And reminder, it does not matter in fact, it does matter. The Jazz do not want to be winning these games. So what do you want to see from this Jazz team in these games? You want to see improvement. You want to see development. You want to see the team kind of better in some ways. Yes, they're going to turn the ball over a lot. They're a young team. It's going to happen. Yes, they're going to get big-time runs from other teams that are going to take advantage of mistakes, young players learning their spots, how to play, where to be. We saw it last year when the Jazz made their trades at trade deadline, went completely young. That's what happens. Young teams lose games, but that's okay. We knew that. And this was just a perfect example of a perfect game for the Jazz. Obviously, the Rockets kind of pulled their guys, but at the end of the game, and the Jazz kind of pulled away at the end. But you know what? Utah also played their young guys and got this. So I felt really good about what we saw. Lauri Markkanen got a lot of post touches tonight. He still figured out a way to get 17 points. That's for 13 free throws. Obviously, the shooting percentages weren't great, and that's going to be something to watch. These were a lot of ISOs, and he wasn't scoring completely, but this 13 free throws is really nice to see. He was manufacturing points, so even though he had a bad shooting night, 11 field goals, he still got 17 points on those 11 field goal attempts. And that's the free throw lines showing up. So nice to see. Now, Markkanen really struggles when he's not getting just spoon-fed the ball. And that's a lot of guys in the league. So this is something to watch. Can Lauri Markkanen become just more of a imposing player in isolation and just getting his own shot, right? If he can do that, then it becomes pretty interesting. And this is going to be a developmental story for him too this year. Lauri Markkanen is pretty close to what he is as a player, but there are some things he can improve on, and I've talked about this multiple times. If you're coming to this Hoop Nerd channel, you're 21% from three last year. He only took like 20 of them. I can't remember. It's like 20 to 30 of them last year. He's got to be better at that. If he can do that, then things get really interesting really fast. If Markkanen can get the pull-up three, but that's going to have to include improving his handle, being more comfortable with it. Can he improve that handle? Then he gets pretty interesting. So anyways, Lauri Markkanen is, for the most part, he is what we know he is, and he played really well, and it's always nice to see these different nuances to the game. This right here, 13 free throws. He wasn't getting the shot to fall, but he was getting to the line, and this makes a lot of sense. They were just getting him that ball inside, and he was playing physical. Really nice to see. And a +2 for Markkanen, right? So we talk about, starting units. Markkanen's a +2. Pretty interesting. So, and this is against a Rockets team that had some big leads. So that's really nice to see. Taylor Hendricks, quietly very solid. Yeah, he is not the flash that Cam Whitmore brings. But Cam Whitmore was a -17. Taylor Hendricks was much better. And it's because of the defensive end. This Jazz team looked pretty good defensively, guys. For a team that was literally last place last year in defensive efficiency and just defense in general. Utah was the worst defense in the NBA last year, post-trade deadline, easily. And for the most part for pretty much most of the season, bottom 5 to bottom 3. We watched it every single night. And Taylor Hendricks is getting on the floor and he's improving as a defender. He has that 17 pounds. I'm pretty excited. There were some reasons to be a little concerned from Summer League because you'd like to see someone like Taylor Hendricks excel in Summer League. But Hendricks has been a little bit like Lauri Markkanen in that ball needs to he's a catch and shoot 3-point player. But we saw some plays tonight. He drove to the basket. That handle looks a little bit more solid. He drove to the basket, used his physicality to score. If he's getting stronger and physically imposing himself on guys, really exciting to see. And I've talked about this. I think the eventual end game for Taylor Hendricks is a really, really versatile center. If he can be a center for this Jazz team of the future, it gets really exciting, really fast. If, that 17 pounds, if that's legit. I mean, every single year we hear muscle watch. Every player's either lost 20 pounds of fat or they gained 20 pounds of muscle, right? It happens every offseason. We hear it every single time. If you're a young person, just get ready. That's going to be something you're going to see every offseason. Everyone gains 20 pounds of muscle and loses 20 pounds of fat. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just add 20 pounds of muscle and lose 20 pounds of fat. But I kind of believe it because he looked pretty strong. And he was so skinny last year. He just looks like he's got more functional strength, and that's pretty exciting because the three-point shot is there. Look at this. 4 for 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 0 turnovers. I want to write about some things I've seen from Cody Williams that have me really excited. But if you'll remember when Taylor Hendricks, after trade deadline, they brought Taylor Hendricks over from the G League, gave him the minutes and said, we're playing Taylor Hendricks. It was literally like the first 3 of 4 plays that he was on the floor, he traveled. His turnovers were crazy. The footwork needed work. You know what this means? The footwork is improving. It's impeccable. He watched the Kobe film, watched the footwork. And so this is getting better. I'm pretty excited. I think Cody Williams, but I think Taylor Hendricks is improving. We're seeing that. He's taking shots he needs to take, and he's knocking them down. He's showing more on the offensive end, and then on the defensive end, he just shows a lot of versatility. In fact, 23 minutes tonight means he played almost as much as Lauri Markkanen and Keonte George. Those 3 are going to be a really fun trio to watch. The minutes are mimicking because they're kind of on the floor together. Look at that. Cody Williams plays the most minutes at 26. That tells you a lot. But anyways, really nice to see Taylor Hendricks kind of falling into his role. He's hitting shots. He's making the right plays. Already the Jazz look like their young players are getting better, which is a really nice sign for just the Jazz organization in general. Walker Kessler was pretty solid. I mean, he's going to be on the highlight reels for getting dunked on by Cam Whitmore multiple times, but he played pretty solid. 3 for 5 from the field, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. I loved the passing from him. It was nice. He's moving the ball. The rumor came out, and I made a rumor video, I think it was yesterday. I don't even know what day it is today. Go watch it, by the way. But Mark Stein comes out with the rumor that the New York Knicks really went hard for Walker Kessler and offered, we don't know what they offered, but we know that Danny Ainge required 2 first-round picks. That's interesting that Utah was willing to talk to them and were giving them a price point. Utah's probably not going to say anything about this, but I would not be surprised if some other teams may come calling. I don't know what the future of Walker Kessler is, but he is a solid NBA center, and maybe he fits the Jazz's future, maybe not. I guess we'll see. But for now, we're just going to watch and enjoy Walker Kessler. I did like there was a little bit more toughness tonight. The rebounding looked a little better. There's some things that just leave you a little in want. I want a little more, and I don't know how to describe it. The defense is interesting. I want to do a deep dive on the defense because, everyone talks about the rim protection numbers, but the Jazz defense was just absolutely horrendous last year. And so why? Why is that? If Walker Kessler's the best rim protector in the league by rim protection numbers, why is the defense why is it not translating, right? You know what I mean? You watch, and this might be just a little bit of bias because we watched Rudy Gobert for so long, such a transcendent defensive player. And Walker Kessler is teaching us that Rudy Gobert was really, really special defensively. There's a reason why he wins Defensive Player of the Year and why every time he's a starter on a team, those teams have a top 10 defense. The thing is it's not really the same thing with Walker Kessler. So you have to ask yourself, why is that? I got to ask myself that. I don't know. I want to look into it. I have some theories. I have some thoughts on it. My one thought is is there a little bit of Hassan Whiteside ism to this? Hassan Whiteside as in the Miami Heat Hassan Whiteside, not the Utah Jazz version, where it's like the block numbers are incredible and there's some rim protection stuff to look at, but not a great rebounder, not a great second jump guy, doesn't get the second, it's great to stop that initial shot, but are you not getting the second one? And there's a little Hassan, I kind of wonder, is Walker Kessler Hassan Whiteside? I don't know, but look at that, 6 rebounds in 18 minutes. I guess that's a 12 rebound night, so that's not too, if he's going per 36, well, that's about 10 to 12 rebounds per 36. I'd like it to be better. Utah has a lot of size and length, so a lot of these rebounds are going to be kind of spread out, 6-3-4 there. But look at this, Colin Sexton had 6 rebounds. How is Walker Kessler not out rebounding Colin Sexton? I don't know. I have questions, guys. I have questions, and I have tiny concerns. I think Walker Kessler is a solid starting NBA big, but I have a weird kind of, is this Hassan Whiteside a little bit? By the way, speaking of Colin Sexton, pretty solid stuff. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 0 assists, 1 steal. It was a little... The game started, and you could just tell there's a little tiny bit of friction between him and Keonte, just kind of figuring out roles. It's very clear Keonte George is the point guard, and they want him to be running the offense. And by the way, it was looking pretty good. I think Colin Sexton is struggling a little bit to kind of find that groove with Keonte George, but it got better as the game went on. As the game went on, he was getting fed the ball. He got 6 threes, 9 shots up. In fact, 9 shots is tied for Jordan Clarkson for second most on the team behind Lauri Markkanen. So he's getting his shots. And that's 9 shots in 18 minutes. That's plenty. 14, 15 shots per 36 for Colin Sexton is fine. I don't know if I have much else to say. It's just going to be interesting, that dynamic between Sexton and Keonte George. It's very clear Utah believes in Keonte George as the point guard. And they're going to watch him as a point guard. I don't think, and this is me just surmising, just speculating, but I think the Jazz really do want him to be the one of the future. And this upcoming draft, in which the Jazz want a top 5 pick and are going for a top 5 pick, there is a lot of players in that draft that can fit alongside Keonte George, with him at the 1 and a big-time small forward next to him. Like, you just look at this draft. Let's say the Jazz get unlucky and drop to 5. There's a good chance they get VJ Edgecombe at that point. I mean, honestly, I'm going to have my heart broken if they don't get at least 4, because I want VJ Edgecombe with that 4th pick. I think I'm starting to become VJ Edgecombe. The villain, VJ Edgecombe. By the way, is there a better nickname for a player than the villain, VJ Edgecombe? I love that guy. Go watch the highlights. Oh my gosh. A backcourt of Keonte George and VJ Edgecombe would be pretty incredibly fun. You're looking at athleticism, the likes of Jalen Green. Just incredible athleticism. And that's like the 4th or 5th pick. There's also Nolan Traore, who, by the way, is averaging 20 and 10 as like a 18-year-old in Europe right now. Kind of like the same type of thing that was going on with Luka Doncic, where in the toughest league outside of the NBA, just putting up bonkers numbers. What is in the water in France? Nolan Traore looks unbelievable. Unbelievable. Utah has to get a top 5 pick because of what we saw tonight. Because if you add, with the talent we're seeing that the Jazz have been doing and drafting, and you combine that with a top 5 pick in what is looking like an incredible draft, come on. And let's say the Jazz win. What if the Jazz win the lottery and you have a lineup of Taylor Hendricks, Lauri Markkanen, freaking Cooper Flagg, Keonte George, Cody Williams, and then whoever of these pan out. By the way, the Jazz will get 2 other picks in this draft, including the Cavaliers pick and the Wolves pick. We're going voodoo, guys. We need bad voodoo going to Minnesota, bad voodoo to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to go in my room. I'm going to make little weird dolls, and we're going to do pins and things. We're not asking for injuries, but we're just asking for bad vibes and bad times and bad records, because I want that pick to be good. I want one of those picks to win. Could you imagine if the Wolves have just this nightmare season and give the Jazz a number 1 pick, and Utah creates their own pick in like the top 5 or 10? If the Jazz get 2 top 10 picks in this draft, oh my gosh, I might for once in my life feel true happiness. Maybe once, okay? Just one time. Just once. I want to feel true sports happiness. The sports journey for me started with Michael Jordan breaking my heart twice. You made me cry twice, Michael Jordan. A pox on you, Michael Jordan. Curses to you. I want to go back to the top of that mountain. And this time I want to be over the top. And I think this Jazz talent can take you there. Let's talk about it. Keonte George, point guard of the future for the Utah Jazz, looked awesome. I talked about it already a little bit, but it's clear the Jazz were running the offense through him, and it looked much better. Like I said, that first quarter, a little shaky. You're going up against legit NBA talent, playing hard, young talent, trying to earn minutes. So this was a great preseason game to really get their feet wet. And guess what? As the game went on, the ball movement was there. It just got better. We saw multiple possessions during this game with Keonte George initiating pick and rolls. But what was really exciting, yes, you only see what? 4 assists? Only 4 assists, but we saw multiple hockey assists. Yeah, we're going to say the word hockey because they want us to talk about hockey in Utah now. But I'm rooting for Utah hockey. If they win a championship or a Stanley Cup before the Jazz, I might die. But I guess I'll be happy. I guess I need to get a Utah hockey hat, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, what I loved is the ball movement was there. And I talked about this before in my other video. You should go watch it. But I talked about Keonte George having potential to be the most improved player for the Jazz. One, he is going to get the minutes. He's going to get that starting job. It's very clear he's already got it. And they are completely focused on giving him that chance to develop. That's the first thing that he needs. 2, he's playing with the actual guys he needs to be. He was given an impossible task last year. He was playing off the bench. If you do not remember, he was being iced out from getting the ball and playing within the offense from Kelly Olynyk and Jordan Clarkson. It happened night after night after night. Kelly Olynyk made a point to not pass him the ball. And we talked about it multiple times on here for all the hoops nerds. It was driving me crazy. Eventually, the Jazz trade Kelly Olynyk to Toronto. Keonte George gets that starting role, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Lots of turnovers. But here's the thing. It's not like Keonte George went from bench to playing with like Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton and all these things. He goes and he's playing with the likes of Talen Horton-Tucker and Luka Samanic and all these players that aren't even on the Jazz anymore, right? A lot of them. And it is hard to find a rhythm. It is hard to run the offense with guys like that who are just trying to get their contract. Talen Horton-Tucker is fighting for his life for a contract in Chicago. You don't think he was fighting for his life for buckets and minutes in Utah last year? That's absolutely what he was doing. That is what was going on. It is hard to run an offense when you're on the floor with that going on. It's just hard. And Luka Samanic is not very good. He's not good. And so now, instead, he is on the floor playing with Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, and Taylor Hendricks, who he got all that time with last year. All of a sudden, looks a little better. It's pretty nice when you get to move that ball to Lauri Markkanen instead of Talen Horton-Tucker. Surprise, surprise. It's not quite as bad. Now, he's still got some improving to do. The turnovers need to get better. 3 turnovers to 4 assists. You'd like to see that improve, and 2 of those were pretty avoidable, but there was a few times where he didn't turn the ball over that he might have last year. So it's getting better. And by the way, here's the thing. He's going to turn the ball over. Everyone turns the ball over. Colin Sexton turned the ball over 2 times. It's going to happen. If you have the ball in your hands, you play 32 minutes a night, you're going to have between 2 and 4 turnovers a night. Hopefully you're down in the 0 to 2 range like the Chris Pauls of the world, who are the most incredible. But if he's in the 1 to 2 turnovers a night, that's great. That's perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make some mistakes. The types of turnovers are what you want to see. You want to see it improve in terms of, is he trying to make a play that's within the offense and kind of pushing a ball into a zone to set someone up for a nice shot and it gets turned over? That's a good turnover. It's the ones where the ball gets taken from you, where he can just improve that handle. And it looks like it's getting better. The handle looks a little better. It looks a little tighter. He looks a little more in control. Guys are going to run after him. That was the book was out last year and they really blitzed him a lot. But I think he already looks a little better to me, and that's just something to watch. So Keonte looks great. He looks like the perfect counterpart to whatever the Jazz bring in this upcoming draft. And by the way, Utah absolutely needs to pull an OKC. Lauri Markkanen needs a lot of rest this year. He just does. Utah needs one more big-time piece to put on this team, at least one more. And then this team gets really interesting really fast. You put Cooper Flagg on this team and things get really interesting really fast. All right, Cody Williams. Okay, you look at this stat line and you say, oh, he only had 3 points, 0 for 3, 0 for 1. He was a +9. I was so impressed with him. And the thing that makes me really excited, let's see. He had 1 turnover, but that was a transition where the ball got taken. He was driving in transition. He turned the ball over up until that point at the end of the game like 0 times. And that was playing the most minutes of anyone on the floor, a rookie. He makes the right play so often. I am really impressed. And the footwork is nice. I watch it so close because I'm so used to players when they get that ball on the three-point line, especially rookies and guys who don't get the ball a lot or don't work on their footwork a lot. They get that ball on the three-point line, and what do? They shuffle their feet and travel. He doesn't travel. It's crazy. I've been watching it like a hawk. I've watched like 4 of them each time I watch it, and he doesn't travel. It's amazing. And defensively, he's looking like a real contributor. This right here is big time. You want to know what a coach, like any of you who have been coaches out there, any of you who have coached a basketball team, when you tell a player to do a certain thing and they go out there and do it, it makes your heart sing. It makes you so happy. If you have a player go out there and not do what you ask, they go out there and they do something else, then it looks something like that. 18 minutes, right? When they're not running what they're supposed to or kind of playing, ISO ball, kind of looks like that sometimes. And that's just maybe rest, but I think it's interesting. 26 minutes for Cody Williams. Really impressive. In the offense, he's unselfish. He moves the ball and he defends. And he's only going to get better. We saw this in Summer League. He kind of felt his way in Summer League, felt his way into the offense, figured out his role, and he's kind of doing that now too because he's around the veterans now. You're on varsity now, not junior varsity. This is varsity. And he is an unselfish guy. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz love him. The fact that he is the first one off the bench is really exciting because it's not like the Jazz don't have other choices. They have other choices. They could bring Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench as the 3. First one off the bench has been Cody Williams. He earned that spot. There's other guys. Johnny Juzang has been with the Jazz. What is this, his 3rd year? And he's shooting like lights out. Lights out. Johnny Juzang's shooting like 80% from 3 in preseason. And who are they bringing off first? Cody Williams. That tells you a lot, guys. Watch the substitutions. Watch who plays, how many minutes. Watch the turnovers. He doesn't turn over the ball. He defends. He's taking open shots. He's moving the ball within the offense. No wonder Will Hardy loves him. It's really impressive. I am over the moon. Now, I want to see him do more things. I want to see him hit those threes that, he only took 1 tonight and didn't make it. This will come. We know he can shoot the ball. But what we're seeing is a player that is kind of beyond his years in terms of just like the basketball IQ, the playmaking, the footwork. He gets it. He gets it. I'm really excited. And so it's going to be fun this year. By the way, guys, this season really, and it kind of dawned on me while I was watching, if you guys are, fans of different fantasy series, there's always a prologue, right? There's always that kind of first section of the book, and we all read it. This feels like the prologue to something exciting to me. This team and this collection of young players is a prologue to something. If the Jazz do this right and they get a top 5 pick in this draft, they get like a Cooper Flagg, this gets so exciting so fast. So fast. And with these young players, we're seeing like the story before the story. if that makes sense. And if the Utah Jazz hit in this draft, if they hit and they get Ace Bailey, or they get Cooper Flagg, or they get VJ Edgecombe, or Dylan Harper, oh my goodness, if you put Dylan Harper next to Keonte George, oh my gosh. Dylan Harper, who's looking like 6'6", 6'7", freaking Darren Williams. That's what he looks like. You guys, he looks like some sort of mix between Darren. He looks like if you put Darren Williams and what's his name on the Knicks? Jalen Brunson into one body. I'm telling you, go look at Dylan Harper play basketball. It is freaking great. And the Jazz have a chance to get him at number 3 or VJ Edgecombe at 4. And then if your consolation prize is Nolan Trier, and we haven't even gotten to the top 10 where you got guys like Malawach, who could be the potential starting center of the future for the Jazz if the Timberwolves have a terrible season. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty darn excited. And yes, the Jazz are going to lose a lot of games. Who cares? That's a good thing. That's what we want. You just want to see the development, so we're getting the best of both worlds. I'm honestly over the moon. John Collins is still just such a great guy. I can't help but love John Collins. He's my daughter's favorite player. He is so much fun. And you know what? That dude works. And I tell you what, I saw some of the things tonight that earned him the starting role over Walker Kessler that we saw last year. Rebounding in traffic, the shooting. I mean, he was 1 for 2 from 3 tonight. Yeah, he's only 2 for 7 from the field because he's 6'9" or 6'8" or whatever he is playing center. So he's just at a disadvantage because of his height. You know, a lot of this gets fixed when you're 7 feet tall. Right? That's the way of basketball. Anyone who knows basketball knows that it's pretty nice to be bigger than everyone else because then you can easily lay the ball in a little better. So it's just going to be tough when you're 6'9" playing center. But what he does is he does rebound the ball. Look, he plays 17 to Walker's 18 and he out-rebounds him. 7-6. I know that's kind of like basic raw numbers stuff, but it's the reason he won the starting role last year. That's the reason. He had 1 rebound tonight that got my juices going. It got the fingers clenching. It got the butt cheeks wiggling in my seat. He grabs the ball out of the air from 3 other guys. He rebounds in traffic. That is the stuff that makes me happy. It's the stuff that makes your hamburger taste good. It was great. And I would not be surprised if John Collins is starting by the end of the year again. And by the way, that is absolutely one of the, my thoughts aren't coming fast enough. One of the philosophies of this team is I think that they need every single player on this team to shoot, pass, dribble. You need to be able to shoot, pass, dribble, and I'll add a 4th one, defend. Shoot, pass, dribble, defend. Can you do all 4 of those things? Then you're getting on the floor. And I tell you what, John Collins, for the most part, does those things. Now, defend is tough because he's 6'9". He is just at a disadvantage. He is a bouncy athlete, and he's going to be the bottom 10 center in the NBA again. It's fine. He shoots the ball. He rebounds. He passes the ball. I don't know. I would not be surprised. I have not seen a lot from what we've seen so far that makes me think that Walker Kessler is going to be the starting center for this team by the end of the season. I think John Collins is going to do it again. Now, it may be that the Utah Jazz are showcasing their current starting center. We know the rumors. They were confirmed by Mark Stein that the Jazz were willing to listen to offers on Walker Kessler. The offer is 2 first-round picks. That's what the Jazz want. And if you offer the Jazz that, sounds like you can get him. And there may be some teams out there that want him, you know? Maybe someone like the Sacramento Kings might want to have at least some depth that way. Maybe the Los Angeles Clippers come a-calling and they got Zubats, but maybe there's a team out there that needs a nice defensive-minded center. And Utah probably listens. Because guess what? Utah is going to need guys that can shoot the ball. I'm slightly just kind of hoping that Malawach ends on the Jazz. I want Malawach really bad. If we could get the Duke duo of Cooper Flagg and Common Malawach, I think is how they say it, I will be so happy. Mallow, watch that happen, baby. Jordan Clarkson took 9 shots. He made 5 of them. He was pretty fun. 14 points. He had 2 assists. There's not a lot to say about Jordan Clarkson other than everyone knows Jordan Clarkson. We all love him. He gets buckets. He has a nice little rapport with John Collins. That was pretty fun. Look at that. They play the same amount of minutes. And it was actually a big part of the Jazz coming back and winning the game. So I hope the Jazz don't play it too much, but it is fun to watch. It's really crazy. It's just hard. Even when I'm watching the game, like deep down, I know that they need to lose these games, and it's preseason, so it doesn't matter. So there's not a lot at stake, but I do feel myself, it's just how it is. You root for the win. And so it's nice for the Jazz to win the preseason games. Let's just lose the regular season ones. I tell you what, man, and this is just me talking to you guys. I'm rambling a little tonight. How long are we going? 35. Thanks for being here, by the way. If you're a Jazz fan or just an NBA fan, hit the like and subscribe, by the way. But anyways, anyone who is not watching this Jazz team, like, oh, I don't like this team, they're not winning. Those people are missing out. You are missing out on the prologue to the exciting story of the Jazz's future championship run, okay? You watching the Jazz now are here as part of the prologue. And when chapter 1 starts next season, when Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey is on this team, or whoever it is, VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, those guys are going to come onto this team, and that's when the story really starts, because so many of these picks and the good ones are coming later, right? And the Jazz just have to create that manufacture that good pick this year to make sure it happens. And my goodness, you're missing out if you're not watching this. So people who are online saying things like, oh, I'm watching this team. Oh my gosh, I got better things to do. I got to watch the hockey. I want to watch hockey. Good see ya. Guess what? Those people will be back so fast. They will be back so fast, they'll be naming their dogs Cooper or Ace or Dylan. I'm telling you that right now. They will be buying the jerseys, the beautiful new jerseys with those names on it. They will be back so fast. But you and me will be here, and we will be able to say, I was there from the beginning. I was watching preseason when Cody Williams wasn't traveling. I was there when Keonte George was figuring it out as a point guard. And the Jazz were willing to put the work in to get him there. We were all there. We were all there. You were there. I was there. We were here. And then when the Jazz eventually win the championship because they got the players they needed to do it, we were there from the beginning. We started at base camp of Everest, right? We're at base camp right now. We have not gotten to the next checkpoints, but we're certainly at base camp. And for the first time in a long time since Malone and Stockton, and for just tiny little glimpses with Darren Williams, you can see the top of Everest. The clouds have cleared. The clouds have cleared. You can see the peak. We're at base camp, guys. This is where it begins. Now, we don't get that. We don't start that trip just yet. We still need all our equipment. We still need Cooper Flagg or one of these guys. But man, oh man, does this look like we're on the right track. The Jazz are on the right track. Let's see. Bryce Sensabaugh shot the ball well. I don't know if I want to say much more, but look at that. Holy smokes. 7 rebounds. Sensabaugh is like the freaking cherry on top. Absolutely nice to see what he does. And then also Isaiah Collier, yes, the numbers don't look great. I love what I see defensively from him. That guy is a bulldog. And he is, by the way, also going to be just super fun to watch. And then Johnny Juzang, I just don't miss 3-point shots. Johnny Juzang. I tell you what, there's going to be a game, and it's going to break my heart, but they're going to bring in Johnny Juzang as a 3-point specialist, and he's going to hit a game winner at some point. Because look at this. All he does is hit threes. It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyways, I'm in talks with my agent with my YouTube channel, and there's some things I want to do with this channel. By the way, thank you to everyone who is a member of this channel and who supports it. It's growing. My agency loves the channel. And I think there's a chance for this to really grow. It makes me really happy. But there's work I've got to put in, things I want to do, things I've got to try. There's some changes in the back end with the NBA that the NBA did this year. The stupid NBA took away IP rights from me and all these other YouTube creators that I'm a part of. And they're going through the process. But I've learned a lot about the NBA, and they kind of make decisions too quick. They kind of do things too fast because now they can't get all these YouTubers vetted in time for the NBA season to use the IP rights. Freaking NBA. And there's a long talk. This is stuff probably people don't even care about, but I had a long talk today about IP rights and fair use and all these different things. But it sounds like I got some opportunities to do some fair use stuff. And what I'm going to do is just breakdowns. I want to break down this team because they're a lot of fun. And I want to break down these players and what they're doing that's exciting and fun. Let me know who you want breakdowns about, because that's what I'm going to do. And they may not be super long, but they're going to be short little clips and things that I enjoy, that I see from the players that I think is really interesting. One of them is just freaking Cody Williams' footwork gets me excited. It's really cool. It's really cool, and that's stuff we're going to do. But anyways, what my agent talked to me about is how good the Jazz have been drafting. He's from Toronto and big-time Toronto Raptors fan, and just talked about how the Jazz in the last 2 years, from his point of view and from other NBA fans and teams and things like that, Utah has drafted really well from other team perspectives. All these guys, I mean, look at all this talent. Kyle Filipowski got on the floor at the end of the game, and he was a steal. The guy that my agent was just dying over that the Jazz got him at the end of the first round was Isaiah Collier. Utah gets Collier at the end of the first round. At one point last year, he was slated at number 1 on Tankathon. I mean, if you go back, the videos are there. He was number 1. Utah got him at the end of the first round. It's crazy. Cody Williams, who he couldn't believe we got Cody Williams, and neither could I, because there were people that wouldn't have batted an eye at Cody Williams going number 1, But he thought for sure when he was talking about it, Cody Williams was going top 6. So Utah is picking well, they are drafting well, and this comes from other people, not just me. Other people from other teams that have no skin in the game with the Jazz saying that this Jazz team really did a good job. At least in drafting. Not in tanking, but in drafting. So now if the Jazz can just do a good job tanking for once, then we can get to the top of Everest. But we got to do it right. You got to do it right. All right, so I think that's that. We are in a tanking season, so we're going to, and this is where they slate Utah. If Utah gets the number 4 pick, guys, I'm so happy about that. This is where Tankathon has Utah at number 4, obviously protected top 1 through 10. I honestly, if Utah gets if they get the number 4 pick and that gets you like VJ Edgecombe, oh my goodness. And if Dylan Harper falls because someone falls in love with the VJ Edgecombe's athleticism, I mean, come on. Are you serial? All right, let's see. Let's do our Tankathon draft, and then let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. Guys, we went long tonight, but that's a good thing. It's Jazz basketball is back, baby, and it's a lot of fun. And by the way, we're going to be having those live streams because I'm going to be on playback with SLC Dunk, but I will simulcast it with my YouTube channel here, so you can watch with me on playback and actually watch the literal game through playback, or you can watch it with me on here. If you got TV and you just want to watch it with me, talk on chat. By the way, if you want to be able to talk and chat during games or during live streams, make sure you join the channel. Become a rookie and you can become a part of the chat, like Car Wash Channel. Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel is one of our all-stars, baby. All right, let's see. If the draft lottery was today, who would win? Let's see, baby. Yeah! Cooper Flag to the Utah Jazz! Cooper Flag! Oh my gosh! Oh, just the satisfaction of that. Oh, baby! What a night, man. Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine getting Cooper Flag just like that, baby? Changes this team forever. One of the best prospects since Kevin Garnett. In fact, that's who they're comparing him to. Probably the best best American prospect since Anthony Davis. Or I guess Zion Williamson. But I think there's a lot of people that like Cooper Flagg more than Zion Williamson. The skill is there, baby. So guess who that gets Utah at number 1? The main event. Cooper Flagg coming to Utah. All right, guys, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout out to Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel. See ya, Lex Slater, Ryan Perry, the legend, Christian House Money to Haas, The Outlaw, Jesse James Nelson, Built for Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jordan the Goat Besterol, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Patrick, I hope I see you again this year. That was really fun last year. All right, guys. If you haven't already, if you're a Jazz fan, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.